This is Sarah Horn reporting for myself, Cora Lease, in OB for Group 3 in GSPH 504 Introduction to Social and Behavioral Sciences. This is our presentation over the theory of reason action and the theory of planned behavior. In the study that we chose to critique is the persuasive power of oral health promotion messages, a theory of planned behavior approach to dental checkups among young adults. As an introduction to the study that we chose, this study was written by Christina Anderson, Seth Knorr, and Brandy Rogers. It was published in 2013 in the journal Health Communications. A link is seen on the screen and will also be attached in our posting. The purpose of this study was twofold. The first was to observe factors that influence the use of dental services by young adults and more specifically college students. The second was to use the most powerful construct of the theory of reason action or the theory of planned behavior for health campaigns promoting oral hygiene among young adults. To further explain the two theories involved, the theory of reason action has to do with how social normatives and attitudes towards behaviors affect individuals' behaviors. The theory of planned action is similar to the theory of reason action, but with one addition. It also contains the constructs of social normatives and attitudes towards behaviors, but it also includes individuals' perceived control over behaviors. Next, I will move into our analysis of the theory's application in the study. This will consist of three sections: the behaviors, the constructs, and the evaluation. First, we will look at the behaviors. The behaviors the study addressed and the behaviors fit for the theory. First, the behaviors that the study addressed were the use of dental services among young adults and more specifically college students. The study also sought to determine predictors of routine and past dental checkups among young adults to identify theory-based constructs for developing a persuasive health message. We believe that this was an appropriate fit for the theory of reason action and the theory of planned behavior. The TRA and the TPB seek to identify relationships between attitude, intentions, and behaviors. This is exactly what the authors sought to do through the study by looking at the relationships between attitudes and intentions and behaviors for college students and young adults pertaining to their routine dental checkups and past dental checkups. So we believe this was a suitable way to analyze and expose these intentions of these young adults or college students. Additionally, this was an appropriate fit in that the study went one step further in examining social pressures, attitudes, perceived control, dental fear, dentist-patient communication, and economic constraints through their surveys. Next, I'll move into the constructs and discuss the theory constructs the study operationalized and how they were measured. First, this is a lovely chart that can be found in our textbook. In the middle, we see the three constructs of the theory of reason action and the theory of planned behavior, which are attitude, subjective norm, and exclusively to the theory of planned behavior, perceived control. To the left are the factors contributing to each of the three constructs, and to the right, we can see how these ultimately affect the intention to perform behaviors by individuals and ultimately the behaviors themselves. First, I will look at attitude and the factor of behavioral belief and how it affects the construct of attitude. So for attitudes, behavioral intentions overall were addressed by the study. Again, this was the main focus of the study as the authors sought to address the intentions of college students in routine dental checkups. Additionally, behavioral beliefs were addressed by the study. This was one of the variables accounted for with the methodology of the study. The perceived severity of a visit is one example of a behavioral belief that was specifically incorporated into this study. Next, we will look at the construct of subjective norm and the factors of evaluations of behavioral outcomes, normative beliefs, and motivation to comply, and how those affect and play into the construct of subjective norm. So, under subjective norm, two of the factors were not addressed, and those are behavioral outcomes and normative beliefs. Behavioral outcomes, as we see, were not addressed, as data was not collected on whether the college students in the study valued going to the dentist or not. Additionally, normative beliefs were not addressed by the study, as no data was collected on whether or not the college students approved or disapproved of going to the dentist. These constitute individual normative beliefs, and rather social and cultural normative beliefs were addressed in part in the study, but not in total of all normative beliefs. And finally, motivation to comply was addressed by the study. There are factors motivating the students to visit the dentist. The most notable specifically in the study was fear. Next, I will look at the factors of control beliefs and perceived powers and how those play into the construct of perceived control. Again, perceived control is only a construct of the theory of planned behavior and not the theory of reasoned action. So under perceived behavioral control, control beliefs were not addressed by the study as data was not gathered on the student's perception of the likelihood that they could facilitate the constraining conditions. However, perceived power was addressed by the study. The student's perception of the effect of conditions placed upon them was an important part in this study. All of these constructs were measured using surveys asking the participants to range various variables pertaining to their behavioral intentions. These surveys were given to two subpopulations of college students, and these consisted of convenient samples on college campuses, and they were not random samples. Finally, I'll move into the evaluation portion of our presentation and look at the study's evaluation of its application of the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior. So we believe that the study did successfully evaluate its application and effectiveness of the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior by breaking it down threefold. First, it looked at the effectiveness of the theory of reasoned action. After a multiple regression analysis was conducted on the data collected, the results showed that the theory of reasoned action model was significant for behavioral intentions. Also, the theory of planned behavior was shown through data analysis to be significant for intended dental checkups and for past dental checkups. The results also showed that the addition of perceived power improved the effectiveness of the theory of planned behavior model. Again, this is the construct present in the theory of planned behavior model and not the theory of reasoned action model. This study also took the theories one step further by studying the effectiveness of an expanded theory of planned behavior model. The results of the theory of planned behavior model extended were significant, however, they were not as significant as the results of the theory of planned behavior traditional model and the theory of reasoned action model. In the end, all of the study's original hypotheses pertaining to the theory of reasoned action, the theory of planned behavior, and the theory of planned behavior extended were supported by the data resulting from the methodology and the procedure outlined in the beginning of the study. Therefore, the findings indicate that this evaluation of the theory was indeed appropriate. The theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior do have many constructs and factors that need to be addressed in order to fully understand and be able to apply it to the college students selected. This study did a wonderful job of thoroughly researching these factors and constructs. Although they did not incorporate every single one, they did a thorough job. Finally, we'll move into our conclusion and discuss the strengths, weaknesses, and lessons learned. First, we will look at the strengths. Overall, we do believe again that the study successfully applied the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior in a way that they wanted to. They did successfully test the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior and extensions separately. This is important to know which theory is being controlled, which constructs being controlled, and which factors specifically so that you can target and elicit which one is best in intervening for behavioral change. Finally, a strength is that the data did find that appearance and pleasing others were the highest determinants of behavior. In other words, behavior is the most strongly influenced by social normative control. However, we can also see this as a weakness, in that the authors concluded that the theory of planned behavior was more effective than the theory of reasoned action. However, this construct is in both the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior. So their results and conclusions might merely be from sampling error. To continue discussing the weaknesses, another weakness I mentioned earlier is that they used a convenient sample instead of a random sample. This is something that would need to be changed for future studies. The authors also generalized their results to all of young adults instead of only staying within the boundaries that they sampled and studied, which would only be specific to college students. Also, as mentioned earlier, some construct factors like the behavioral outcomes and normative beliefs were not addressed in the study and should have been. Although these were weaknesses, we did learn a lot from studying and analyzing and critiquing this study. A few lessons we learned are that it is important to be specific when applying this theory, as it is a qualitative theory and approach to studying behavior. It is important to be specific, stay within the boundaries that you're studying, and generalize their results very specifically and in a limited manner. Additionally, it's really important to be honest with your data results. We do not believe that they were fully honest, as they did not use random sampling and they generalized their results to all of young adults. Therefore, it's important to be honest, and if you don't get the results that you wanted, to continue with multiple studies and to either affirm or disprove what you are studying in your study. Finally, we do believe that choosing the theory of reason action and the theory of planned behavior was a good fit for this study. Again, the authors concluded that the theory of planned behavior was a strong predictor in the intentions of college students to get routine dental checkups in the past and present. With this finding, the authors are taking a step towards achieving better oral health behaviors and using this finding in future oral health behavior campaigns. Although we described some factors being excluded as a weakness, many of the known subjective factors influencing behavior were compensated for and incorporated into the study. Therefore, we believe and conclude that the findings provide a solid baseline for future research into the use of the theory of reason action and the theory of planned behavior models. Overall, their purposes were fulfilled, and they successfully revealed how utilizing the theory of planned behavior model specifically can be maximized for an oral hygiene campaign. If you have any questions regarding the theory of reason action or the theory of planned behavior or our presentation, please contact one of us. Our emails are as followed, and this will be attached in our posting. Here are our works, and thank you so much for listening in.